My father has always believed that humiliation builds character. He calls it humor. Says our family is tough. Growing up, every report card, every awkward teenage phase, every failed relationship became material. If you laughed with him, you survived it. If you didn't, you were sensitive. When I got engaged to Amir, my father insisted on hosting the party. He framed it as pride. It's my only daughter, he told people. Of course I'm doing this properly. Properly meant 60 guests, a rented hall, a long buffet table and a microphone he controlled. All evening, he circled the room like a man campaigning. He introduced Amir as brave and bold. He joked about my high standard and how I'd finally settled. People laughed politely. They didn't know the pattern. Amir's hand rested lightly at the small of my back. He doesn't enjoy public conflict. Neither do I. I told myself it would pass. When the time came for speeches, my father stood slowly, adjusting his jacket as if stepping onto a stage he had rehearsed for years. He began warmly. Stories about my childhood. About how stubborn I was. About how I used to correct his grammar at age 10. Laughter rolled through the room. Then he smiled in that particular way I've known my whole life. Tight at the corners. So, he said, raising his glass, to my daughter, who finally found a man desperate enough. The word hung there. A few people laughed automatically. Then the silence caught up to the meaning. 60 guests inhaled at once. Amir's body shifted beside me. He started to rise. His jaw tightening, ready to defend something that didn't need his defense. I placed my hand firmly on his arm. Not yet. My father chuckled, misreading the quiet as suspense. I'm kidding, he added lightly. She's not easy. I felt the old reflex move through me, the instinct to smile, to absorb it, to make it comfortable for everyone else. Instead, I stood. There was no rush in my movement. No tremor. I walked toward the front of the room where the projector screen still displayed a looping slideshow. Photos I had prepared earlier. My father looked mildly confused, still holding the microphone. I just want to add something, I said, my voice even. I set my laptop on the podium and opened a file. Not the photos, a document, black text, formal letterhead. Signatures at the bottom, from across the room. I saw Mr. Qureshi, my father's longtime business partner, lean forward slightly, narrowing his eyes. I connected the laptop to the projector. The document filled the screen. It was an acquisition agreement, 2 months earlier. When my father's company had faced a liquidity issue, after an overextended expansion, he had quietly approached several investors. What he didn't know was that one of those investors was me. Through a holding structure he never thought to trace. Because he never imagined I would structure it. I purchased a controlling interest in the company he co-founded 30 years ago. Effective immediately upon filing, which had cleared that morning. I didn't need to explain all of that. The document did. Mr. Qureshi's hand loosened around his glass. It slipped from his fingers and hit the floor, shattering. Not dramatically, just from surprise. The room shifted again, this time not in discomfort, but confusion. I've always admired desperation, I said calmly, looking at the crowd rather than at my father. It drives innovation. It forces change. My father's smile had disappeared. This document, I continued, confirms a leadership restructuring at Qureshi and Malik Holdings. As of today, I hold majority stakeholder authority. A ripple of murmur spread. I'm grateful, I added, glancing briefly at Amir. To have a partner who doesn't find my strength intimidating, who doesn't confuse independence with difficulty. No shouting, no accusation, just contrast. My father stepped toward me, lowering his voice. This isn't the time. It's the only time, I replied quietly. You chose the stage. He looked at the screen again, scanning the signatures as if hoping they might rearrange themselves. They needed capital, I said, now addressing the room once more. I provided it. The board ratified the transition this afternoon. Mr. Qureshi cleared his throat, visibly recapitulating. He knew the implications. So did my father. This wasn't revenge. It was governance. I closed the laptop. I appreciate everyone being here tonight, I said. Let's celebrate something real. There was no applause. No cinematic shift, just a long, collective adjustment. I walked back to my seat. Amir didn't stand this time. He didn't need to. His eyes held something steadier than anger, respect. The party resumed in fragments. Conversations resumed cautiously. My father remained at the bar. No longer campaigning, no longer commanding. In the days that followed, the company issued a formal press release. My father retained a ceremonial advisory title. His office moved to a smaller corner suite. We have not discussed the toast. We will. But not on a stage he controls. That night, when the last guests left and the staff began clearing plates, I didn't feel triumphant. I felt proportion restored. For the first time in my life. My father's joke had met a structure stronger than his voice. And it didn't require me to laugh.